It's time for your weekly boiler tip.
When we start up a piece of equipment, it may seem like it's as simple as turning a burner switch on, but there's a lot of steps in that process and a lot of things that are being checked. So let's take a look at what we're looking at in the sequence of operation. You may think that turning the burner switch on is the first thing that the flame safeguard's using to give it the approval to go ahead. But the fact of the matter is, as soon as that controller has power, it's already checking things. The first thing it checks when it powers up is the pre-ignition interlock switch, or gas valve proof of closure. So whether we've got demand on the boiler or not, the burner switch is on or not, it's checking to make sure those gas valves are closed. So let's take a quick look at that. So as soon as the controller gets power, it wants to know if this gas valve's in a physically closed position. And that's determined by our proof of closure switch, but it's not that simple. The valve closure disc depresses a micro switch here to confirm that the valve stem's in the full up position. Without that, we're going to lock out immediately. So our call for heat's not just a switch. The boiler has some instrumentation on it to determine whether there's demand, not just our opinion of whether or not we should be running or not. Two of those devices that are generally in the standby limits are the operating pressure control, which turns the boiler on and off with the first shut off based on pressure, and a high limit. The high limit's redundant to the operating control, but also features a manual reset. So if the boiler goes sufficiently over pressure, it's going to require our intervention up there. On boilers, we're also going to check for proper water level. So we've got one board here that's our first low water cutoff, and we've got a second low water cutoff that's also a manual reset. So once again, our main primary control and a redundant control, because pressure and water level are absolutely critical on a boiler. On the gas train, there's two more switches it's going to check before it starts the light off process. That's our low gas pressure switch and our high gas pressure switch. Both of these are manual reset devices. So if somebody's turned the gas off to the unit and lost pressure there, or if the regulator malfunctioned and we got excess pressure there, both of those may require a reset. So you may think, hey, that's all the limits we have to worry about on the boiler at this point. And that might be true. But in a lot of cases, we've got outside air dampers that are activated by turning on the burner switch. And until those open and prove position, we're not going to get our actual call for heat. So when that damper's fully open, it's going to make an in switch, and we're going to start the purge process. So when all those limits are satisfied, we're going to start our purge process. And a lot of things are happening when that occurs. Firstly, we're going to come out of standby. Our contactor is going to pull in for our fan, and you'll know that happened because you're going to hear your fan running. Now, if we look at the air damper, we'll also see that that's driving to the open position, because to have a purge, we got to have airflow, and to have airflow, we got to have that damper open. In the process of purging, we're not only going to start that fan, we're going to drive the air damper open for purge, but we're going to check the auxiliary contact, and we're also going to verify the fan running status with the combustion air proving switch. So as that damper opens, we'll make our in switch and we'll start our purge count. Frequently on a boiler this size, that's going to be a 30-second purge time, but on larger boilers that duration may be longer. So watch it so you'll know for future reference. When the low fire in switch makes, we'll get pilot ignition, which is going to put power to our ignition transformer and our pilot gas valve. That should give us a flame signal, and if that flame signal is verified, we'll proceed to main ignition. When demand is met or the burner switch is turned off, we'll go to post purge, a 15-second fan run to just ensure that any remaining gas in the gas train downstream of the shutoff valve is fully combusted. And then we go back to standby. So next time you push that burner switch and expect the unit to start, keep in mind all those safeties and limits. Watch the operation as it goes through the sequence, because when it locks out, if it locks out, it's going to be a real clue as to what's going on.